Hi there. I'm absolutely delighted to join you guys today to talk about literacy. My name's MacLean. I am National Chef of Scotland. I'm Executive Chef at the City of Glasgow College, and I'm also the Masterchef, the Professionals winner 2016. And I just wanted to very, very quickly just talk about my journey through my career and talk about my school days and things like that. And how my attitude changed and how my perception of life at 13, 14 and 15 is completely different to what it actually was. It's been fairly well documented that I've always wanted to be a chef in my career all the way through. And I was really lucky that I found something that was actually pretty good at. I was a terrible student at school. I was the worst in my class at absolutely everything, English, history, everything else. But I was pretty good at drama, and I was really good at home economics. In fact, I was probably the best in my class at home economics. And for someone that was really bad at English and maths and biology and everything else that I was doing, and to find a subject that I really loved was quite incredible. And I feel really privileged that I found what I wanted to do for a job at a very young age. But what it did do in my school days is, because I kind of discovered food and discovered that that's what I wanted to do, I didn't think anything else was relevant, and how wrong I was. So I fundamentally gave up pretty much every other subject. And then when I say I gave up, I just didn't apply myself. I didn't really participate. I didn't really, and the reason for that was I didn't think it was important. I didn't think it was necessary for me to learn English properly. It didn't really matter that my handwriting was terrible and spelling was bad and all these other things. And little did I know how important literacy was going to be in my life. So starting to cook, and there might be a bit of noise. The dog might bark in my home. The door might go, so we're just going to have to live with that. But what I didn't realise is when you leave school and you find your job and everything else, there's a whole host of other skills that you need that you probably didn't think you needed. And being able to communicate properly, whether that's verbally or whether that's written, became a huge part of my job. Very early on in my career, I became a head chef, which meant I was writing menus. Sometimes I was writing menus in different languages. I also went to college, and again, for the first couple of years of college, I was fine because a lot of it was very practical, and I was a very practical person. So I was always okay. I was always good at class. I was always good at producing food because that was my strength. But as I moved further up the sort of food chain, so to speak, in college, I then struggled. So from suddenly being one of the best in the class, when you were then asked to hand in assignments and assessments and sit and do written exams, I found myself struggling. I found myself just getting by. So very quickly, I kind of realized I'd made a mistake at school. I should have stuck in. I should have learned. And right through my whole career, that ability to communicate, it was something that I really had to teach myself. I had to get back, and sort out spelling and how to write menus and things like that. I mean, I remember writing my first menu. My handwriting was so bad I actually used a typewriter, and this is before the invention of laptops and everything else. So I had to type it, and it was awful. It was absolutely awful. Doing one menu on a page would be 8 hours work, and it was because my handwriting was so bad that I had to type it. But as I say, the older I became, the wiser I became. And suddenly realised that I had to get my act together when it came to literacy, and just to make life that wee bit easier in my job. And basically, thankfully, a bit of technology came in. When computers and stuff came into the sort of mainstream, came into I found myself in front of a computer a lot, writing menus and things like that. Later in my career, I went into education. So I went into teaching. So I started off part-time, and I did a Wednesday. I did a whole Wednesday on my day off from my regular job, and I did that for 13 years. And again, I absolutely loved it. 2010, I became a full-time lecturer. And I then, because I was a full-time educator, you have to have teaching qualifications. And that's when I had to go to university. So I had to go to university to get teaching qualifications in order to teach full-time. And it was something I was kind of dreading because, again, obviously from my previous chat, it's never been my strong point, writing essays and things like that. But because I embraced it, because I actually wanted to do it, I wanted to get qualified, I absolutely loved it. You know, I was very good at scheduling time to write essays, a scheduled time to read and research and things like that. And I absolutely loved education. I loved going to university. I loved getting qualified. And best of all, I graduated and I went to, you know, the Guildhall in Dundee and had the robes and everything else, and my family was there. And it was one of the proudest moments of my life because it was a real achievement to get that academic recognition that I didn't get at school. It was really important. But again, my communication, because of the jobs I've had, I've run 100 restaurants at the same time where you've got 400, 500, 600 staff that are reliant on good communication skills. And when they're all over the country, you have to be very clear and concise and exact in what you're telling people or expecting from people. So when you're the boss and you're having to then tell people, you know, and I never thought in a million years I would have to be communicating with 600 staff. So it was really, it always takes me back to school to think that maybe I should have stuck in, maybe I should have applied myself, because it wasn't that difficult after all. And obviously later in life, when I started working more in the media, so I've done, you know, presented TV shows, you're working from scripts and things like that. And that communication skill when there's a camera in front of you and there's a whole crew behind you is absolutely vital. And even things like I'm now an author, which again, I never thought my English teacher would be really proud. So a couple of years ago, Kitchen Essentials was published, and you guys are the first to hear. This is book 2. I know what you're thinking. It's this is how a book starts. So this is my next book that I'm working on, and I'm doing a lot of research and a lot of reading and a lot of writing on Scotland's traditional food. So I want to bring all our traditional foods, you know, that we might not see, you know, like a Morton's roll or a square sausage or a Scots pie. I want to get that recipe, then I want to tell the story of that food, and we should celebrate it. We should celebrate our heritage. We should celebrate our foods that we've grown up. It's not all bad. So I'm doing a book that celebrates Scotland's traditional food. But again, I probably use this literacy skills more than culinary skills. And that's just how my life has changed. And the reality is your life's going to change, regardless of what career you go into. Your life's going to change as you change and as your needs change, you know, when you get a family and things like that. So you know, regardless of what you do, the more strings you've got to your bow gives you more options, it gives you more choice. So if you can get out of school with as much qualifications as possible, it basically just means there's more doors for you to open. I was lucky. I found food at 12 or 13 years old, but I have never met anyone at 12 or 13 that knew exactly what they were going to do. And then at 50 is still doing it. I don't know anybody that does that, and I feel really privileged that's happened. If it can happen for you, brilliant. But the chances are you're going to have to develop. You're going to have different jobs, different careers. And I think the stats these days that you guys leaving school can probably have 3 or 4 viable careers, different careers throughout your life. Very, very few people these days are sticking to that one career they left school and started. But literacy is vital in life in general. There isn't a job out there where you do not have to communicate. And you guys will probably be communicating more with things like emails and stuff like that. So it's important that you understand the importance of that. and I'm just happy to share my stories. So thanks very much, and bye for now. Bye bye.